Hey there, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for showing up time and time again. I appreciate you for being here. But the truth is, today I do not have a polished topic. I actually wanted to take the opportunity to speak completely unscripted and from the heart on something that's been weighing on me lately. I've honestly been in a bit of a funk, to be honest with you guys. I have felt really stuck in creating content because I just don't want to make noise. I want to contribute something that actually helps you guys. And what I've been coming back to time and time again is when you open up the internet and you see all the creation out there, I think the first thing that we all feel is overwhelmed. We all feel like, well, shit, if I'm not doing absolutely everything, then I guess that I'm not going to be able to heal X or I'm not going to be able to lose weight. I mean, we're at the point now where even water is not safe to drink. And so I feel deflated as a practitioner at times and as a content creator on the internet. So I figured I'd make this video just be raw, honest, completely unscripted, no editing, and talk about the truth. Talk about what people really need to hear because I feel like that's what needs to be heard most right now. Healing isn't complicated. It's generally not a parasite cleanse that we need. It's generally not a uh, crazy protocol or a liver detox. It's generally not that complicated. I will say there are corner cases out there where a lot has happened to the person's body or has been exposed to massive environmental toxins, and maybe there are necessary measures to be taken to get that person over into the possibility of fully healing the body. But most human beings are just not being consistent with the things that matter most. I had a conversation with a client recently, and actually, I've had multiple conversations with multiple clients recently that kind of resonate. They all are saying the same things. They've made progress, they know what to do, but when it comes time to doing it, they just can't follow through. Consistency is a big problem for these people. And I always ask myself, as a practitioner, am I part of the problem? Am I giving recommendations that the person sitting in front of me cannot handle? And the thing about social media is that you're scrolling the internet, right? You have your phone, you're scrolling, some creator pops up the 5 reasons why you're not losing weight, and you read it and you're like, oh shit, I'm not doing three of those. I guess I better start doing those. And we get distracted, we get sidetracked, we get thrown off our game, and we recognize that we need to do more, or we think we need to do more. But the reality is, I know that it's sexy to chase a diagnosis. I know that it gives us, or we think it's going to give us clarity. But the reality is, we need to stop chasing diagnoses. We need to stop chasing the shiny objects, and we need to instead focus our energy on the foundations. And it's not sexy. And this is the part that just makes me not want to show up at all because not sexy doesn't sell, right? We want to hear polarization, right? We want to hear carnivore diet. This is the way and this is why. If I talk about the middle, if I talk about the health somewhere in the gray area, it loses people because people automatically assume because it's not drastic that it's not going to work because of diet culture. We've been programmed as women that it has to be hard, arduous, and we have to hate it in order for it to work. And in some cases, nutrition changes can feel drastic depending on where you're starting. But the key is to take steps in increments to change your diet if that's what we're talking about so that it doesn't feel so drastic because the end goal is for you to stay consistent. You to stay consistent, okay? And so I just want to make sure that First of all, I'm sure some people have already clicked off because I'm not telling you that this is the way to drop 20 pounds in 30 days. And that's a shame because the people that already clicked off are still in search of something that they're never going to find. And instead, putting that energy towards really rooting in and finding consistency in the foundations is really what allows you to reach your goals, to find true health, to remain successful, and roll with the punches as your body changes, as your hormones shift, as your lifestyle changes. I'm a mom, I'm 40. I have two jobs. I'm in corporate America as an engineer, and I run my nutrition practice. My kids are 7 and 12, both in sports, very, very busy. And I am not a unicorn. However, I have come to realize that I am a corner case because of how I live my life. There are weeks that I do a lot of extras, meaning the sauna therapy, the red light mask, the skin brushing, the castor oil packs, the things, the all of the cool gadgets and extra mile, the wake up and have the water with the lemon first thing in the morning, right? Like all of the extras out there. There are weeks that I nail it. And there were weeks like recently, we're in the middle of another home upgrade update, and we're all living in the living room right now, four of us. We're on the couch, we're on two mattresses, the rooms are getting painted and updated, and the floors are getting put in. It is chaos. It's summer break, the kids are home, I'm trying to work, my husband's trying to work. And this came up with me the other day. I have over the last 4 months have healed my cystic acne. I never had acne growing up, but my hormones shifted 2021 timeframe. I didn't know what was happening. My doctor told me it was perimenopause and basically said, welcome, welcome. You've reached the point. You've unlocked a new level, and sent me on my way. And I took my health in my own hands. But for the longest time, I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get rid of my acne. I finally got rid of my acne. I've dropped 10 pounds. And I've implemented some things that if you're interested in hearing, drop a comment below and I can make a separate video on that. But I did all this while my life was, for lack of better words, in chaos. And I always am asking myself, how can I teach this? What am I able to what am I able to take from how I operate, what's made me successful and other clients of mine successful, and put that into content? And often I find that how I have reached my goals, I'm also not blessed genetically. I did not hit the genetic lottery at all. I have an autoimmune condition that's in remission. My genetics are actually really not great, right? So I'm not an anomaly. Um, but I'm always asking myself, what am I doing that maybe others aren't doing, where I've been able to maintain, for the most part, really good health or improve my health. And I just went through a round of doing that. Um, and the answer is not sexy. And I think that's why I get stopped up in creating a piece of content or making a video like this. And I just said, screw it, I'm just going to do it and see what happens. Um, but the answer is not sexy. It really comes down to foundations and being consistent with those. And I've even simplified it even further. And I talk about this with all of my one on one clients, and it's your non negotiables. And the three non negotiables for everybody. So I rarely do blanket statements, but this is one that pertains to every single woman. And before you say, I'm doing all that, I'm going to challenge you to see if you're truly doing all that. Those three non negotiables, if you are overwhelmed with why isn't this working? Why can't I lose the weight? Why do I feel like trash? My labs are normal, but I feel awful. Am I really doing these three things consistently? Here they are. Number one, are you sleeping? Right? Not sexy, but are you sleeping? And you might say, yes, but are you waking up feeling refreshed? Are you sleeping throughout the entire night with maybe one or no wake ups? If you do wake up, Do you go right back to sleep? If you do wake up to go pee and you get in bed, do you go right back to sleep, or are you staring and thinking about your to-do list or spinning about a conversation that you had that day, right? Is the monkey brain turned on? Are you sleeping 7 to 8 hours? Can you check all those boxes off for me? Right? Are you sleeping consistently? Same time you go to bed, same time you wake up. Most women, especially in their 40s, can't honestly say that they're doing this. And I know this has been a big hurdle for me over the last few years, but I can say without a shadow of a doubt now, I am a freaking ninja with my sleep. 10 o'clock bedtime. I'm up around 5:45 or 6 o'clock, depending on the day and which workout I'm doing. It's similar on the weekends, although on the weekends I allow myself to sleep in till no alarm clock, depending again if we have a baseball tournament or something, but that's usually my protocol. So, number one, are you sleeping? You really got to be honest with yourself on this one. Sleep is so important because not just it gives us the beauty rest, right? But sleep is when your body is most active in repair and growth and metabolism, right? You burn the most fat at sleep. Your insulin sensitivity goes up the more you sleep, the more your body repairs. It brings inflammation down. That means less puffiness, less stress fat around the waist, more energy throughout the day because your mitochondria, your energy houses, are actually getting regenerative energy while you're sleeping. So that can translate to you doing whatever you're doing during the day. Sleep feels very simple, but if your sleep sucks, even if you are sleeping 7 to 8 hours, if you're not waking up refreshed, that needs to be worked on. Does it need to be a supplement? Maybe, but usually it's not a lack of a supplement. Usually there's a lifestyle practice or nutritional practice that's causing sleep to be disrupted. Um, Number two, and this will affect sleep. Are you pooping every single day? Did you know that you can poop every day and still be constipated? No, right? You're like, now you're throwing me some curveballs, Jess. Um, you want to make sure you're able to evacuate completely. If you feel like you're pooping and you're a solid Bristol 4 on the Bristol stool chart, that means like nice sausage, smooth, easy to pass. You're not sitting there for more than a few minutes. You're not having to push a ton. It comes out easy, clean, white, even, gold star status, right? You want to be doing that every single day. And you want to make sure, feel like everything's out. Simple, easy, everything's out. This is an area that I struggle with due to having ulcerative colitis, which is an irritable bowel disease and autoimmune condition. So I'm always being careful with how I'm eating, how I'm sleeping, how much water I'm drinking. Everybody's going to have a choke point, something that they struggle with a little bit more. Digestive issues are a choke point for me due to my autoimmune condition. So I have to be diligent in this area. And anytime something gets thrown off, I am like on it. I'm obsessed with my health. And that is where you need to be. You don't have to be perfect, but you have to be obsessed with protecting your beautiful vessel, pooping. Okay. Number three, and by the way, before I move on, pooping, right? Like, are you pooping every day and you're not bloated? We don't have to be flat tummy, flat tummy club, but do you feel like your belly is out to here after eating? Do you feel like you have to unbutton your pants? Do you feel gassy? Do you feel stomach pains, right? Those are all signs, even if you're pooping every day, that ain't something right in your digestive system. Okay. So pooping every single day, 1 to 3 times a day. Okay. 2 to 3 is a sweet spot. And then number three, and the most nuanced and not as simple as what people make it out to be, is your blood sugar balanced? And do you have proof it's balanced? And there's two ways to find proof because the first way can be false proof. The second way can help double check the proof. So the first way I love to start with clients is a lab test. Okay. So flip flop this. A lab test is how I usually start with clients. We run a battery of comprehensive blood labs, not functional Dutch testing, GI mapping. That's It's really not needed, in my opinion, early on in your healing journey, or even if you haven't done a comprehensive workup of labs. Lab tests. In that lab test, we're testing a ton of tests, but we're really going in on your metabolic markers, your liver markers, your HbA1c, your insulin markers, or glycomark, which I love, and C peptides, your fasting glucose. Out of those three, particularly insulin, fasting glucose, and HbA1c or glycomark, one of those three out of nearly 99% of the women I've worked with has shown some level of dysregulation. Okay. And then are you testing your blood sugar with a meter or a continuous glucose meter? And caveat, did you double check your glucose meter if you were using a CGM with a finger prick meter? Because your CGMs can be up to 20% or more error in how accurate they are. Okay. So, why we want to look at both of these? You may be saying, I balance my blood sugar, I eat protein, or I don't eat carbs. Carbs. I don't eat cupcakes, bread, right? I don't eat gluten. I hear all of it like, oh, I don't eat gluten. I'm good. Well, there's more to carbs than just gluten. Potatoes are a carb. Um, berries, apples, fruit's a carb. You might not eat cupcakes and you might not eat candy all day long. But if you're eating protein bars or, trail mix or fruit, smoothies, protein shakes with fruit in them, right? You are consuming carbohydrates. And I'm not here to tell you a carbohydrate is a bad thing, but you are guessing because you're eating healthy and you're not consuming refined sugar that your blood sugar is balanced. 2021, when I started having major acne and growing 10 pounds of fluff around my waist, my blood sugar was not balanced. I thought it was. I was eating healthy rice, chicken, broccoli. I was bodybuilding. I was working out when COVID hit and the whole world shut down. Um, I was not balancing my blood sugar for how my body needed it, right? So balanced blood sugar consistently. So here's where I hear a lot of clients go south. I'm talking to them. I work with them for a while and they tell me, oh, I'm in a funk. I feel like I'm going backwards. And I ask them, well, what are you eating? Sure enough, their food's all over the place again. They've fallen off their non-negotiable of how to construct a healthy meal. They're under eating protein or under eating in general. They're overeating carbohydrates and underutilizing that energy through movement and exercise. There's a blood sugar balance issue and an energy balance issue. And I am not perfect. It happens to me too. But those are the three non negotiables that I say. If you just focused on those three, you would have plenty to focus on without all the glitz and glamour that's out there. And most women that I have supported have a very hard time staying consistent with those three. And how I know this is they tell me, but also I'm a woman living in this human experience. And I also can have a challenge in this area. And I consider myself the top 1% of human beings out there when it comes to discipline. So if I even have trouble, because there's definitely days where I don't want to eat eggs. I am over protein. I don't want to eat, or everything looks gross, or I just am not hungry. I have those days too. But when I start to see that take a dive in my performance, whether sleep performance, exercise performance, energy performance throughout the day, I recognize that something needs to change because I am not going back to how I felt 3 years ago. So this is what I want to hopefully help you with today is I want you to really simplify, to stop chasing the objects, to stop chasing the diagnoses, to stop chasing whatever it is you feel like you're chasing. And if you're frustrated, if you're looking for support on how to implement these non-negotiables in your real life, because that's the key. Conceptually, I'm sure you're following. You get that you need to sleep, that you need to poop, that you need to balance your blood sugar. But where the rubber meets the road is putting this to practice in your life in a real way that you are able to stay consistent 90+% of the time. Because that is what it takes. That is what it takes. You can't just stop going to work for a week and expect to get paid. For some reason, we want to know how long we have to do something in our health. We want to be able to set it and forget it. But let me tell you, if you set it and forget it at work, your ass would be fired eventually. You wouldn't, and then maybe if you weren't going to be fired, you wouldn't be up for promotions. You wouldn't get a merit increase, right? You would get a shitty report on your performance review. Phoning it in doesn't work in any aspect of your life: career, health, parenting, relationships. I don't get why we want to be able to just set, or why we think we should be able just to set it and forget it. And this goes with picking a diet and wanting to just stay with that diet forever. It used to work, but it doesn't anymore. That is because you're a dynamic human being. You are a dynamic species. Your body is changing, it's evolving. Your needs are changing. Your lifestyle's changing. Like, even for me, my kids are growing up. Their needs are changing, which impacts my ability to do what I need to do for my own health. And so we have to be able to build a foundation. We have to be able to have an awareness of our non negotiables so that we can protect that as much as possible, whether we are in our house, in an airplane, on vacation, right? And this is what has enabled me and my most successful clients to reach and maintain and roll with the punches when their body changes and have success. So I'm curious, out of all of the non-negotiables I talked about, I wanted you to drop a comment below. Which one are you working on most? I want to cheer you on. Share it with me. And if this video was supportive, if you feel like you had a wake-up call, if you enjoy this type of honest, raw, unfiltered, unedited content, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and a thumbs up on the video. It's going to help other women find me, and also have these awakening experiences, because ultimately health is not complicated. It's at your fingertips. You don't need a bunch of fancy tools in order to get where you want to be in your health, in your body, in your mind. And if you're looking for support in order to implement this in your life, this is where the root cause review protocol works wonders. I want you to either drop a comment below asking for more support, or find me on Instagram, Body Empowered. Email me with the show notes below. You can find my email address. And I really hope that you take heart and this helped clear up and loosen the frustration or the complication, the overwhelming feeling that you might have on why the hell you can't reach your goals. It's time to be brutally honest, take personal responsibility. I am here for you. You've got this, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.